Good morning, everyone. I'd like to welcome everyone here to our February 2nd Planning Commission. This time, I'd like to call this meeting to order. If Mr. Slade would indulge us in our invocation.
Let's go to the Lord's Prayer. Father, thank you for the day you've given us today, a day that we can come first before you and acknowledge who you are, and thank you, Lord, for all the many ways that you have abundantly blessed and resourced this county and these men and, Father, our community to be the best community that it can be. I thank you for their leadership. I thank you that they are willing to serve. I pray, Father, that you'll give them wisdom and discernment, and you will do that freely, and that they will have all that they need in abundance. Father, that they will be able to make good and wise decisions that help all of the citizens of our county to be the best county that it can be, the safest county it can be, Lord, the best protected county that we can have. I pray, Father, that you will bless abundantly the men and women who serve us faithfully every day to protect us in Christ's name.
Thank you, Mr. Slade. Considerations and approval of December the 1st minutes.
So moved. Second.
Motion made by Mr. Cross, second by Mr. Gaines. Any discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, like sign. Motion carried. Any old business?
We don't have any old business today.
Okay. All right. New considerations.
All right, so the first item under new considerations is a conditional use permit for Brittany Everett at 553 Rose Hill Road. Ms. Everett is seeking the conditional use permit to operate a personal care home on this property. She owns 0.15 acres that has an existing home on it. It's outlined in blue, and she has recently acquired an additional 0.85 acres that will be combined with the 0.15 to make a total of 1 acre. This property is zoned A2. That's an aerial view. You can see her home on that 0.15 acre parcel. That's a view of the home. The personal care home may house up to 3 residents. Licensure is not required by the Mississippi State Department of Health for 3 or less residents. Residents may have functional or physical impairments, cognitive limitations, or be unable to complete daily activities of living. The home will operate 24 hours a day and will always require 1 staff member be present. So that's a view of the home. Brittany is here today if you have any questions for her.
Has there been any concerns or calls about this?
We haven't had any calls yet from anybody. The property's been posted. These are surrounding properties.
That house right there, it looks pretty close to that other.
That's the surrounding. This is the one where it'll be. It is next door to that other house. This one is right next door to this home.
It's different owner.
It's her relatives, I believe, that own it.
They share the concrete, looks like.
Yeah, where is Rose Hill? Bradley, where is Rose Hill at?
County area, between County Line and Cato.
No, they will not be living there. They'll just have a staff member and 3 residents.
Oh, so it's kinda like just for daytime.
No, it's
They'll be
gonna,
there 24/7.
it's gonna come be like assisted living, I think.
That's what I was asking, are they
Yeah.
gonna live there?
Yeah.
Oh, I thought you meant would Brittany and her family. I'm sorry. Oh, I'm sorry. That's my.
We're working on some conditions that can be considered at the hearing. So yes, we're kind of making sure we understand what is going to be happening there and basic requirements as conditions that would be appropriate for a facility like that. So
Everything needs to be up to
so
compliance.
obviously the State Department of Health will have primary jurisdiction over that operation, but we will, once it's declared to be exempt from the specific regs, it's important for us to have some to make sure.
All right, so the next item is a conditional use permit for Joseph Scott Stewart at 735A Highway 468. Mr. Stewart is seeking the conditional use permit to open a commercial drop-off site for catalytic converters and other regulated metals from businesses that provide proof of where their products came from. This is a 2.77 acre parcel. It's zoned A1. That's an aerial view of the property. There's an existing metal business on this property that he will operate the drop-off site from. That's a view of that building. He purchases catalytic converters, rims, and copper from scrap yards, recycling centers, muffler shops, and junk yards, and he uses leads online to report transactions, which can be viewed by law enforcement agencies. Everything will be stored inside this building, and he's proposing hours of operation as 8 to 4 p.m., 2 to 3 days a week. He also wants to place a business sign at the end of his driveway. So these are views of that building. This is the driveway coming in off of 468. His house is on the left. This is his property.
Is Mr. Stewart here? Come on up, Mr. Stewart. I got a few questions.
Yeah, looks good though, man.
Just-
I like the place.
Just
Thank you.
state your name and your address, sorry.
I'm Joseph Scott Stewart, 735 Highway 468 in Brandon.
With what's being said, that you'll have to be open at least, what, 2 to 3 days a week?
I'm on the road. I buy commercially
Okay.
from places that are already registered with the Secretary of State's office. They already have put their stuff in leads online, the way it stands. So typically, what I buy currently is already, when I pick it up from them, they've already put their stuff in the system. So I only want this location for 2 to 3 days a week for my local places to stay under. In July, the laws changed, saying that most of my people, if they're not, if they can be a business, but if they're not actually registered with Secretary of State's office, they have to bring them to me. I don't buy from the public.
So it won't be any individual can come in and drop off
No.
a truckload of.
I do not want Tom, Dick,
I mean,
or
that's
Harry
what we
coming
don't
in
want
there.
either. We don't
I
want
am
people's
not-
Cadillac converters being cut
Well,
out.
to be honest with you,
Yeah,
I've already been in
yeah.
business 22
Yeah,
years.
yeah.
Larry Nesbitt with the Secretary of State's office and me are very tight. He was very good, much a big deal in Pearl for years. He's a good friend of mine. He has searched my business, researched it. He comes, checks my paperwork continuously. I was with him this past week.
Yeah.
I've never once been caught for a stolen product. I had a scrap yard in Forest for, dear God, from 01 until, I guess, 6 years ago. And I've never had a case brought against me for anything. I bought converters the entire time. I've never bought a stolen catalytic converter knowingly. I'm gonna throw that out there, so y'all don't say that in the
How
future.
about copper wires?
I only buy from electrical
Okay.
companies.
Yeah, all right.
People who do this as a part of their daily business. I'm not seeking to buy from the public.
Okay.
I have 6 people that I've been buying from for 20-something years, which Larry has approved those 6 people. He says, don't step out of my zone. You know, because for 20-something years, they're honest people. This is what they do as part of their living. They're not actually certified businesses. But those 6 people, he has deemed appropriate. Outside of that, I'm seeking no other individuals. I'm seeking businesses.
I got you.
You understand? If they're not a business, I don't want it. So my place already has 15 cameras up on it the way it is. One of the police department saw me drop a gun in the middle of the highway. My mother drove off with one on the roof of her car here a while back. And you can see the vehicles all the way out in the highway. From my property, my place is thoroughly covered by cameras, recording in and out. Anytime law enforcement wanted to look at anything, they'd be more than welcome. As I said, I've been in business for 20-something years, and I try to run it with honest integrity.
Is this, I'm trying to place it, is this where? the
Ken Clark's
park?
place.
Yeah, I know Ken.
That's
yeah.
Ken's shop in the back right now, and I'm
Yeah.
trying to purchase it from him.
Okay, I just identifying to where I thought it was, that's Ken's place, yeah, I know Ken.
Any other questions from any?
Mr. Stewart has already covered, with what he just told you guys, all of the 4 conditions that we would ask the board to consider. Again, this is not gonna be considered until the 15th, but he's already covered each of the 4 conditions that we thought were appropriate to put on here. We asked the sheriff's department to help us determine whether or not the conditions and the situation needed further attention from law enforcement, and I think the report back was we're good to go. So I think we're covered,
Okay.
unless y'all have other questions.
I will say one thing in my write-up. I wrote down that I did not think it would be necessary to ever have a big rig back in there. If I'm gonna ship my product out, maybe once every 2 to 3 months, I might have one back down my driveway.
Well,
Outside of
that's
that,
your driveway.
The whole driveway is
Yeah.
mine, except for, Chauncey, which lives in, his house is over here, but he's already stated that he's good to go.
Okay.
With everything, he doesn't care. Like he told me the other day, he said, it's your money, spend it, do what you want to, but you own the road.
Yeah.
You know, if I'm the owner of the road, I don't see a, personal problem with that.
All right. Appreciate it, Mr. Stewart.
you.
Thank you.
And yes, I'm glad to work with locally, whoever, whatever law enforcement.
All right. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, the next item is a conditional use permit for Tyler Brown at 120 Long Ridge. Mr. Brown is seeking the conditional use permit to construct a pole barn with living quarters on this property. It's a 15.25 acre parcel. It's zoned RE1. That's an aerial view of that property. The structure will have a metal exterior. That's his site plan. I think he's 361 feet off the front property line. The living quarters will be 954 square feet of heated and cooled space. The application states that this is a temporary dwelling and a permanent dwelling will be built within 5 years. These are views of that property. And then these are surrounding properties.
I've had no really, have you had anything other than one thing I talked to you about?
No, sir.
Yeah. So you gonna set it? It's fine, I'm fine.
Chair, this is one where we have restrictive covenants in place that has a minimum heated and cooled square footage, among other things, no subdividing, et cetera, et cetera. So what is being requested is a deviation from the covenants. If the board agrees to provide the conditional use, we'll have to amend the restrictive covenants, which is no big deal, but we'll have to amend those to allow for this smaller square footage for the temporary period of time. And he'll have to build his permanent house to comply with the minimum square footage.
And you've talked to him about that, yeah.
I have.
I mean,
That's fine with that.
I thought the neighbors, the one phone call I had, they didn't have a problem with
Yes, sir.
anything. They were just making sure we weren't making some major change on zoning,
Yeah.
nothing to do with that. They were fine, they understood what he was doing.
The basis for the square footage requirement is that it is a part of the Long Ridge subdivision, even though it's not subject to the covenants of Long Ridge subdivision. So we want to make sure that whatever permanent structure ends up being there is in keeping with the other houses that are there. So
Is there something about siding on there?
Sir,
Is there
No,
anything about stone, you
no,
know?
no,
well,
this is a barn.
this is the pole barn
There's some
temporary.
nice houses over
Yeah,
there.
but Jay, that technically, he's really not in that. See,
Yeah. Our covenants don't address, Jay, the specific exterior finish. That's because when we do our covenants, we're not really getting into that issue. The purpose for the county's covenants on this was to prevent multiple subdividing on a private drive and to require that the minimum square footage be close enough to the other houses around it. So if y'all have something to say or address about this temporary barn,
no,
dwelling-
the barn's not temporary.
no, but it being used as a dwelling is.
He's putting it in the barn.
Yeah,
So what I'm getting at, the barn, it's gonna be a barn there regardless. He's just adding a small living quarters there for his wife, him and his wife for a certain period of time till then they're gonna build the house. But as far as the barn, he's building, it's gonna be a permanent structure.
Yeah.
Then he understands
That's right.
that at one point, he'll have to take something out.
That's
Change
right.
of occupancy to convert it, take the living quarters out, and it'll
Right.
just be a barn.
Or take, he can still
Well, a
have.
bedroom, a bathroom, or
yeah,
kitchen.
Your
he can still have a
condition,
bathroom, whatever.
your condition will be, one of your conditions will be that the permanent structure's gotta be in place within 5 years.
from the date that you grant the conditions.
Right.
So we don't end up in a situation where he just lives there however long.
Right.
And never converts over into a permanent dwelling.
Then afterwards, he understands there's not gonna be it won't be a living quarters,
It
won't be
won't
able
have
to
an
rent it,
occupancy
or anything like that.
certificate. It can't be
It'll take-
used as a dwelling.
Right, it'd be
in
taken
any way.
parts of it out,
That's right.
which I'm sure he'd want to do anyway, because it's gonna be the metal structure, what is a barn. So,
All right,
I would imagine he obviously was gonna leave a toilet, whatever there, and that'd be fine. So,
any other questions?
All right.
what, I need a motion to approve?
No, sir.
The
Just- huh?
the
It-
hearings
It's
are
under
gonna
the
be.
hearing
It's under
setting
the
section.
Set the public
We're
hearing.
gonna set,
Yeah, we'll do that later.
okay, right.
All right, so the last item under new considerations is a conditional use permit for Alton and Marie Chrisman at 279 Garth Farm Road. They're seeking the dimensional variance for 2 lots that will be combined into 1 parcel. The 2 lots only total .96 acres. This property is zoned A1, which requires a full acre. That's an aerial view of the property. There is an existing home on one of these parcels. That's their site plan. The red box is where the new manufactured home will go. It'll be a 2023 16 by 80 manufactured home. And the old home will be torn down or demolished as soon as they are within 6 months of moving into the new home. These are views of that property.
This was a nuisance property, and of course, I think some of the kids have stepped up and wanting to get the parents out of the house and do away with the house, but they need somewhere for them to live, so they're gonna purchase a.
How are they doing the sewer? I mean, that's not enough land to, do they have an agreement with the neighbors?
She is, well, she's checking with the health department, but they live in this home on the property, so they have some kind of sewer
But now, I
already.
mean, it's working right.
Well, it doesn't, but they'll have to go through that process to make sure they get that before they could, get a permit. And we've asked her to go ahead and contact them and make sure of that.
Hopefully one of our neighbors will allow them to use their property as an easement.
And these are surrounding properties. That's it.
I'd just be glad to see that cleaned up. All right,
Mr. President, I think if y'all are prepared to move to the setting.
Yes.
Y'all can take
1
1
through
through 6
6.
together as one motion, just to set all those.
I'll make a motion to
February
set
15th.
1 through 6 for February the 15th. Motion made by Mr. Bishop, second by Mr. Morrison. Any discussion? Not all in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, like sign. Motion carried. Set for the 15th. All right. Site plan architect review. Nothing. Any
Craig, nuisance.
Oh,
Nuisance.
have we gotten a nuisance?
nuisance property?
My bad.
First item on the nuisance section, gentlemen, is the Johnny Paul Porter nuisance property at 1124 Leesburg Road. It's a District 4 property. We'll open that public hearing. I'll ask Mr. Porter or anyone on behalf of Mr. Porter who's prepared to speak, come forward at this time. Give your name and address before addressing the board. Renee will demonstrate the photos.
All right, so we've worked this property several times. We received a new complaint October 31st in regard to rubbish and debris, inoperable appliances, dilapidated fence, rubbish and garbage. So the certified mail was unclaimed, but these pictures were the previous pictures, October 31st.
Is that a trailer and a house or a small storage?
I believe it's a small storage building in front.
Okay.
And these pictures were taken yesterday.
you Mr. Porter?
Yes.
Just state your name and your address for the record.
Rankin Porter at 1124 Leesburg Road.
All right, thank you, Mr. Porter.
Mr. Porter, I think you've been here before, haven't you?
I have been here, well, not over at the other building, I think.
Yeah, well, I think you're fixing to go back over there, so I'm gonna make a motion to declare this a nuisance.
All right.
Second.
Motion made, Mr. Bishop, second by Mr. Gaines, to declare this a nuisance. Any discussion? Not all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, like sign.
Hope you can get it cleaned up, so you don't have to deal with much.
All right, thank you, Mr. Porter.
Let the record reflect that hearing is closed. The next item under nuisance section, Mr. President, is Dennis and Loretta Bell, nuisance property, 1131 Barker Road, District 4 property. I'll ask that Mr. or Ms. Bell or anyone on their behalf prepare to come forward, state your name and address. Mr. Nate will demonstrate with the photos. That public hearing is open.
All right, we received a complaint November 29th on this property. We've worked it before as well. The complaint was in regard to inoperable vehicles, grass, rubbish, missing and broken windows. The mail was unclaimed. These pictures were taken November 29th. And these are the news pictures that were taken yesterday.
Is anybody here for this address? No? I'll make a motion, we go ahead and send it up to justice.
Second.
All right, motion made by Mr. Gaines, second by Mr. Morrison. Any discussion? Not all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, like sign. Motion
Record
carried.
that public hearing is closed. Next item is a continuation of a prior set nuisance property consideration. This is on the Stephen and Olivia Nieberg nuisance property at 2349 Shellwell Road. This is District 3 property. We'll reopen that public hearing. I'll ask Mr. and Mrs. Nieberg or anyone on their behalf to step forward at this time. Name and address, please, and Mr. Nate will demonstrate with the photos.
All right, so, as Craig said, we had this at a previous nuisance hearing. It was continued until today. These pictures were taken September 2nd.
And he was in here in October, wasn't
He was.
he? Okay.
And so these pictures are dated November 30th. And then these are the new pictures.
Added stuff to it, huh?
Yeah.
It keeps getting worse.
And I don't see them here, so I'm gonna go ahead and just declare, well, send it on to Justice Court. That'd be my motion to send it to Justice Court.
Second.
Second by Mr. Bishop. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, like sign. Motion carried.
For the record, the public hearing is closed. Mr. President, item 4 under the nuisance considerations is a continuation of a prior set nuisance determination. Sherry Copeland, 148 Penny Avenue. If Ms. Copeland is present, she can step forward at this time. Be prepared to give name and address. Mr. Knight will demonstrate with photos.
All right, so this was from the last meeting as well. Ms. Copeland has altered this manufactured home into a multifamily dwelling. And she was supposed to set up an appointment time for us to come out and inspect the interior of the home. She did call and make an appointment, but when they got out there, she said she wasn't ready for the inspection. These pictures were from September 1st.
You already gone through that coffee?
And then these are the new pictures that were taken yesterday.
Some strong stuff.
You didn't get
All
any
right.
of the others?
Ms. Copeland, if you would, just state your name and your address.
It's Sherry Copeland, 148 Tammy Avenue, Florence, Mississippi, 39073.
Thank you. Can you tell us what's going on and? why-
Yes, sir. I know, I understood December I came, it's supposed to have, I think, 30 days, which would have been January. And they came out, which I was understood, I misunderstood, I guess. Because I was understood that January they would have came out and gave me the list of what to do, and I would have done it, and came back to my meeting now. Well, they came out, wanted to do it in December, which I knew I had things, which I saw pictures inside I needed to do. But I was trying to go get them done, which I'm in the process now of getting a job. I got done an interview, and I go to orientation. The Buster went yesterday, but they doing it next Tuesday, so I'll be able to get a job and be able to purchase all the, like the fans or lights I need. Cause I didn't want to just put more wire ends up there. I was gonna put a light fixture up there, which I got two. My neighbor's bought for me, and he's trying to help me do this stuff slowly, but he's on by himself. I mean,
Well, Ms.
so
Copeland,
what can we do?
I mean, how many folks are living in the house?
Me?
Just you?
Why do you call her?
But see, the people
multifamily?
was there, but the people was there, had the people living back there. And then when he passed, I just had it, ended up being mine, so. Did not understand it was wrong. I found out it was wrong.
I mean, it's more or less a safety issue for the county because you got exposed wires and stuff hanging out of the ceiling and, I mean, we're
I
trying to.
understand. The guy put the wire ends on it, and I guess when the other guy came, and must took them off, cause I, like I said, but last time I thought the wire end was up, did y'all see me the picture? They took the wire ends off, I guess was trying to fix it, I guess. But I put more wire ends on till I got that light fixture. I gotta put the light fixture up and the ceiling fan up. We took the shop light down that was up. I'm gonna put another ceiling fan with it blown. Trying to get,
Well, does
what
these
needed to be
vehicles
done.
run right here?
I mean, my truck, yeah, my sister, I'm trying to get the car to my sister house, she like live in Raymond. She can came over, cause they had a way to come over, they were gonna help me, they could help me do stuff in the house, quick, but they ain't got a way to go either.
So the car belongs to your sister?
Not mine, I was gonna give it to my sister, but they can come help get away, drive, fix it. Cause it ain't but minor issue with it, but they can come help me do what her husband can. Besides my neighbor doing it as he can. He's the only one I got right now is my neighbor.
Have you done any cleaning up?
Yeah, I have. I'm trying to get the light fixtures and stuff and everything. It's just more too, I needed it done before I got the permit come out. The guy come out, but like I said, I thought it'd be January, not December.
But it just looks like, it doesn't look like much has been done since before, and I'm trying to be sympathetic to your situation, and we understand a lot of your situation, but it doesn't look like you're making a real attempt to do anything. Some of it just takes a little bit of, little arms and little back.
The inside, what I was
Clean it up.
I was
Start.
I was under the impression the inside.
It is.
Not, I mean, I know
Inside
the
and
Well,
outside.
inside and out.
Inside and out, but yeah, your inside, we're worried about the safety
Now.
part of it, the safety part of it, as far as it can catch on fire.
For the
or-
light fixtures, that's what
Yeah,
they told me.
I mean, yeah.
Keep the lights
I think
on.
Look back to the inside, you'll see what we're talking about. I mean,
Yeah.
you live in it.
I was trying to see if I could, I thought the light do the inside, then the work on the outside, where I was under the
But I guess what I'm
impression.
getting at, we're not seeing where you've done really anything on any part. We don't see very much on the inside. I mean, nothing else.
But they didn't come back in, that's the reason, and took more, and that's, so I took the shop light down and ceiling fan and did
Yes,
it.
ma'am, we're gonna have to.
That's
get
what
this
happened.
sorted.
All right, motion made by Mr. Vicious to send it to Justice Court. I'll second that motion. All in favor say aye. Aye. All opposed, like sign. Thank you, Ms. Cope.
Just for the record, that hearing is closed.
All right, so,
In case you didn't know, between, Ms. Copeland.
Ms.
Explain to
Copeland.
you, between now and the time you go to justice court, you got some time in there to get something done, and that would help you. So I'm just saying, it's not like you're going there tomorrow. You got time, so don't just, you need to make an effort to be doing something before that time comes, and that'll go a long way, okay?
All right,
Ma'am,
Do you live near a church or? Okay. Okay.
Absolutely.
All right, I guess next meeting's March the 2nd, 2023, 9 a.m. Motion to adjourn on this and move over.
I make the motion.
Motion made to
Adjourn.
adjourn. I second that motion. Any further discussion? Not all in favor, say aye. All opposed, like sign. Motion carried. All right, I guess we'll go into our agenda for February 2nd. Any public comment?
Nice and short.
Hmm?
It's nice and short.
Yeah. Miss Caroline Gilbert, you're up. Good morning.
Yeah, we're done. Okay, thanks. Okay, I have petition to change assessments on 2022 real and then 2019, 2021, and 22 personal property assessments.
I'll make a motion.
Second.
Second by Mr. Morrison. Any discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, like sign. Motion carried.
Hey, Miss Caroline, can I ask you one question
Yes.
before you get going? I know back in December, we came back through and, they gave you some stuff that the, duties were gonna change for the first of the year. Did you get everything? I thought I saw on some of the papers that we got that everything was supposed to be turned in to certain offices at different times,
Right,
according to the way the statute was reading.
right.
Did your office get everything you need, or how was that?
Yeah, so
Yeah.
mine is not a timeline. That
Okay.
is more for Jessica.
Okay.
She needs hers at a certain time unless y'all want stuff at a certain time. But for
Yeah, I
me,
mean-
it's, yeah.
We want ours a certain time.
Yeah, well, I get I'm getting stuff every day, basically,
So,
from them.
so I guess my question, just rolls over to Jessica.
Yeah,
Did you get everything you, I know there was a February 1st deadline, I just didn't know whose office it
Correct.
was. Did you get everything you needed by the 1st?
I got the homestead applications yesterday
Right.
as well. I didn't get the amended, but I reached out to their office manager about that.
So you didn't get all of it by yesterday, right?
Oh, I got all the, I guess, original, or first time.
Right. So the amended stuff you didn't get?
Have not gotten it yet.
Lance, you got a follow-up on that?
Yeah, we typically don't do that, because we still have a lot of work we have to do to the amended before we get it to them.
Gotcha.
That's when we took her the box over there, which was almost 2,000 homesteads yesterday.
Yeah.
So we
Gotcha.
still have amended that have not been added to that list, because we have work we have to do before we can do it.
If there's flexibility in the statute that allows for these to come in a batch form,
Mhm.
so that there can be the homestead applications where there are no issues, as those are collected, they get turned over to Jess. But it contemplates that there may be amendments,
Mhm.
and the time frame on that obviously understands that it's gonna be after the original deadline.
Gotcha.
So I think it's working based on what I understand, but I stand to be corrected. But
Yeah, we're
I'm,
working with Department of Revenue to do those electronically, which will be
Yeah.
new, but
that would be nice.
Yeah.
And this
That
was
would
an
be really
unusually
nice.
large amount of homesteads this year. We
Mhm.
typically do 1,400. We're at the 2,000, 2,100 mark at this point. So it's been an unusually large amount of homesteads that we have
Yeah.
processed so
Let me, can I
Yeah,
have the
yeah.
floor just a second? Thank
Sure,
you.
absolutely.
I was gonna tell you guys a couple things.
Well, there was one on February 1st. That's what I was checking on, to be sure we were, I know it's kind of
Yeah.
silly.
So, it looks like we're gonna have a request for my District 5 supervisor to do something with his homestead, so we need to all be aware of that.
Yeah.
Let the record reflect. But anyhow, so they're all representatives of, we have representation from each of the offices that are having to go through this updated system. And so I want to say again how much I appreciate the fact that they're working together cooperatively. We had a good, what I thought was a really good meeting to try to address some of the historical ways we've dealt with things that didn't precisely track the statute. And so we've had to kind of make some adjustments there. And what I see is folks trying to get on top of it and do the very best we can for our taxpayers. That's the key here, and these offices are working together
That's right.
well to do that.
Yeah,
I will say
the
that-
main thing I was just wondering about, and since it got brought to our attention
Absolutely.
on the February 1st deadline, I just want to be sure that the board's staying on top of the deadlines that are
Absolutely.
there, so.
That's exactly right. So, I anticipate that, there will be occasional hiccups where the newness of it, and we're training into it and we're becoming more familiar with it. There are gonna be some hiccups from time to time. We had a hiccup that I don't think anybody was really anticipating when a third-party vendor that we have a contract with
Right.
failed to get our reminder notices out timely. And so what I saw, I knew something was up when on the 3rd of January, the 4th of January, I'm coming through the offices and I look over and there's nobody standing in the homestead line. I knew something's different here. And so we lost what, Lance, about 2.5 weeks?
2.5 weeks.
Yeah, we lost about 2.5 weeks. And so on this occasion, I wanna make sure that it's clear to everybody. The reason we had an issue with getting that February 1 deadline right on the mark.
'Cause we didn't get the
because
notices.
we were crushed.
Notice didn't go out until
We were
the 15th of
crushed
January.
at the end of January to get it done. So kudos,
But to the printer that was supposed to be done.
that's right. So thumbs up,
January 3rd.
for our folks being willing to take extra work in a shorter period of time. Thumbs up.
All right. Thank you,
Hey,
Ms.
thanks.
Caroline.
All right, thank you.
Hey, and I guess maybe, Jessica, on the 15th, you could just follow back up with us and let us know everything's in sync, right?
Yeah.
Perfect.
Thank you, Jessica. Mr. Slay.
Item A under my section is this is a follow-up to our discussion from the prior board meeting. You guys will recall that the board authorized the execution of a memorandum of understanding with the city of Brandon with respect to some of the money that the legislature provided to Rankin County last session that relates to our Civil Link plan and program. And so that MOU provided for an amount of money, $600,000, that would be expended by the city of Brandon pursuant to an agreement on the identified streets that were going to be improved. And so that went to the city. Steve is also going to participate, but we need to do a separate MOU for Steve's, okay? Because it'll be handled a little bit differently. And so I'll walk you through that quickly, unless y'all want me just to bypass all that. I can do it either way. But briefly, the MOU will require, it will be set up and handled as a reimbursement to the city after certain work and improvement has been performed. It'll be a dollar for dollar match, and the streets are identified. There's two streets that will be improved with this program, which are Brentwood Street and Bellwood Drive. These are both in Steve's district, but inside the city of Brandon, okay? So again, just to be clear, the city will be required to go out and to perform the improvement services, and that will trigger their eligibility to receive dollar for dollar match up to but not exceeding $300,000. So that's what the MOU provides. There's also a time frame, Steve, where the city is required to perform the services and complete the services. The period of eligibility is 12 months from the date of the execution of the MOU.
I'm not real clear on one aspect, and that, our road manager and their road manager are supposed to get together at some point and really have a solid plan. And if I understood right, they may work out some things where we have equipment that we can do this, and
Yes.
they have equipment, they can do this other part. But at the end, it could be work, sweat equity.
Yes, sir.
When we say dollar for dollar, surely it'll have a value to
Yes, sir.
the work that's being done, but our road manager and their road manager
Yes, sir.
are gonna work closely together to
Right.
make sure we.
Right. The MOU is structured so that it doesn't require, Steve, any particular way of getting it done.
Yeah,
But it
okay.
accounts for the fact that it is a sharing
Yeah.
MOU.
Good,
We're in. If they're in, if they're not in, we're not in.
yeah.
If they do it all
Mhm.
themselves, there's
Yes.
flexibility for us to send them a check for our half.
Yeah.
But
Or up
if
to
we can
300.
work together
up to
cooperatively and
300.
work it out so that it can be done with in-kind, we can track those costs and make sure that that gets carried out the way that you've intended.
Yeah.
Okay?
Thank you.
But the other 600,000 is not like that?
No, it's not like that. That MOU, it sets out the streets, that it identifies the specific streets that require improvement. And I think there's been discussion, Brad, you can correct me if I'm wrong, there's been discussion about how the city is gonna take care of that and whether or not there's gonna be an involvement on the county. I don't think the anticipation is that the county will be
We're
doing
not
any
involved in that,
services.
yeah.
The funds will be available to them, and there are definitive streets that have to be improved with those dollars.
Yeah, I just want to commend my board for y'all stepping up and helping Brandon. They definitely need it. So, good job, guys.
Appreciate that.
Thank you. You were a leader and showed us how to do it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
well, I'm
We-
trying to help, man.
We
Thought
followed,
originated
we
over there,
followed
yeah.
what you did for the city of Pearl
Yep.
and Flowood, so we
So-
appreciate you.
Thank you, man.
Are y'all good? With that explanation, I just need a motion to approve that, please.
I'll make a motion to approve.
Second.
Second by Mr. Bishop. Any further discussion? Not all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, like sign.
Gentlemen, I've got two matters that I need to talk to you about in executive session. I also have at least two things I need to talk to you about as additional business.
Okay, all right,
Hey, I've got,
go ahead.
we under additional business
No,
too?
Keith Hicks.
Oh,
first.
sorry about that.
Good morning. Item A is to acknowledge receipt of DPS premium pay grant proceeds that we've received in the amount of $34,000, and I need authority to issue the checks and distribute the grant funds to the eligible recipients who are law enforcement and firefighters with the county that were not here during the time that the county provided premium pay.
Yeah, so these people won't be, paid twice, right? That's the only.
That's correct.
only
To
stipulation.
be
Yep.
eligible for this grant, you cannot have received
Any
any
other
past
ARPA, yep.
premium pay
Gotcha.
or,
Yep.
or CARES Act money.
Yeah, I'll make a motion to approve.
All right.
Second.
Motion made, Mr. Cross, second by Mr. Bishop. Any further discussion?
I just have one question. Do they have to be employed by any certain timeline?
July
They had to
1.
be, they had to be on the books on fire or police by July 1 of this year. They just couldn't receive it in the past. They
Yep.
can't
And,
do it
and
twice.
the great thing about this is our reserve officers that were on staff July 1, who volunteer their time to come out and work shifts with the sheriff's department, they're eligible to receive this money. It's
great. How many
$1,000 per person,
How many people are we?
34.
34, that's 34,000, it'd be 34 people.
I wasn't gonna point that
Well,
out.
that's good, man.
I thought you were setting me up, you know?
This
Thought you were setting me up.
appropriated money, and so. we
Yeah.
need
The
to be-
legislature did it, yeah.
Yes, we need to be thankful to the guys, so I would encourage you, if you have time, drop them a message and tell them thank you for their help.
All right, motion's been made, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, like sign. Motion
Right.
carried.
We have another
Additional,
meeting on February 6th. You've been provided the agendas if there's any questions. If
Yeah,
not,
I have,
okay.
a couple. I saw on the consent agenda, we have somebody coming in to train some of our firefighters.
that's Carl Van Horn, I think. Is that the one you're talking about? He does
Yeah,
a,
for $800 and something dollars. Why are our staff not doing that?
Is there a
Hey,
certification?
Word, I'm assuming what this says here on that same thing that Bishop's talking about. It says a volunteer cert, that's the 40-hour volunteer cert class, right?
Yes, sir.
Is that what it is? I mean, it's a 40-hour volunteer cert class?
It's taught over 3
Yeah.
months, I believe.
So what it says is March 7th through March 18th.
I think it's
Class
May
got a-
May 18th, I think.
It just says, Samantha gave me one that said March, so you could be correct, but, mine says like a 2-week deal. This is a 40-hour program, right?
So is our guys not qualified to do it, or is
So-
this how we normally done it? That 850 kinda caught
I'm just
my
saying,
eye.
Brett,
in the past, it has been an outside instructor.
but I guess my point is, we could teach it in-house and save $850, right?
Yes,
Yeah, so why don't we teach it in-house?
if that's what you want to do.
We can save $850. We got guys can teach it.
Yeah, I like that.
I mean, our
idea.
county fire coordinator can teach this class. It's a volunteer cert class.
Yes, sir.
1041.
That'd be my suggestion.
1041 level 1 is all.
Save the 850 and let our guy, because honestly, what that also does, it allows us, our EOC, to bond with those new people. Be sure, I mean, we got certified guys all through the EOC. Let our EOC guys teach it.
I'm good with it.
Word can put out the schedule for him to teach. Word's coordinated probably 50 full-time certification classes.
Look at there.
So just put the schedule out, have your staff teach. Makes that easy.
Well, I told Brett when we had a meeting back in the last quarter of last year about prepping for this year, that I wanted classes actually hosted at the EOC. Like the 12-hour schools, they kind of dance around. I told them we're centrally located here, and I just think we get a little more bang for our buck.
Hey,
bringing them in.
here's the only other thing I would ask. Just be sure all of our county volunteer departments know that anybody that needs volunteer cert,
Right.
that Brett's gonna teach a class.
Okay.
Or Mike.
Yeah.
Or the other guy, what's his name?
Yeah. You got Justin and Hunter. All four of them can teach it.
We got all kind of guys down there.
Word can coordinate is what I'm saying. I mean, he's lined out.
Not Mr.
Lot
Smith.
more.
All right. Any other?
I got one more question.
Okay.
Under consent, on N, we're paying somebody for 9 classes? 9?
Yes, sir, this is a reimbursement for hours worked, or, I'm sorry, classes taken for their certification.
But 9 of them?
Yeah.
Hey, don't we do that usually approve them on the front side? It says reimbursed on this sheet.
Well, the department heads have the authority to designate.
They
what-
authorize it
Yeah,
front?
and there was no travel involved. Usually you have to authorize the travel portion of.
Oh, I got you.
This was all done online.
Are they still?
Yes, most of them are 1 hour at a time.
So like, he actually did these recently, not
Yeah.
like
You have
going
to
back 3 years to reimburse them.
No, this was recently.
I mean, are they needed for like a recertification deal or
I'm
something?
not sure how many hours are needed on appraisals. These were appraiser type classes, and they have a continuing ed requirement. So this was a reimbursement for those classes that are required.
I mean, I
to
guess
keep
what I'm
their
saying, to get
certification.
recertified, you have to take 9 a year, or you need those hours?
I'm not sure
I don't
the
know.
number of hours, but I'm assuming the department head authorized them
Would you
to.
look into it before we meet?
I will.
Alright, I'm just 9 kind of threw me off.
Yeah. Well, I have
Usually
to-
we do 1.
Yeah, I have to have 40 a year, so 9 to me would be great.
There you go. Alright. So it could be something just like that, but it's also $800, so. That's all the questions I have.
Okay.
Hey, I got one other thing on the
Yep.
consent. Under item H, I know it's sending a guy to the county fire investigator school. I'm totally for it. It's good. The statute actually requires him to go take that. I'd just like to take it off consent
Okay.
and put it on the regular agenda, just so I can abstain, because it's at the academy.
Okay. Will do.
So that'd be my only thing.
All right.
I just curious, when are we gonna talk about, asphalting and stuff like that?
Today,
Huh?
today?
Well, is that what's going in executive session?
No.
What I'm saying, huh? Oh, okay, all right, that's what it was, okay.
It's been developing and the developments are late in the day, that's why it's not on the agenda.
Oh, okay, I thought we were today, and I thought, well, why would it be anything litigatable?
All right.
So,
One item of additional business, we have with us today one of our election commission chair, and we've had come up an item to replace our poll pads. And we have 2 options that we can do that. The current iPads are outdated. My understanding is you can't update them. So we have 2 options to either buy all new poll pad devices, which is an iPad type device, or we can lease them over the next 3 years. Did I get that right? So what we ask is approval of a 3-year. We looked at it, we think leasing them at the end of the 3 years, they really don't have any residual value. So we're asking, the better deal seems to be the lease of them over 3 years. It would be 175 of them, and it's gonna be 18,000 the first year, and then 22,000 year 2 and 3.
So what can we not update about the poll pads we have?
Just like on your phones, Apple, at their own discretion, can choose or choose not to update an iOS platform or provide updates and security for past platforms. Our current, the original 125 that we bought
Right.
are Air 2s.
Yeah.
They have chosen not to support that system anymore.
And how old are those?
We got them in 2016.
Okay.
So we're lucky we made it that long
Yeah.
with them, to be honest, because Apple usually updates a lot faster than that with their security stuff and chooses to not support.
I like the leasing part of it, and that way if they,
Well, the
Sure.
leasing program too, the way it works, at the end of the 3 years, even if they don't have a new update, we're good, we sit pretty, we just sign up another 3, but every time they change it and choose not to support one that we have, they replace them, and we do another 3-year lease.
I got you.
But they keep us current, it keeps the security level current, which is the most important part. It also, there's a couple of details that on this new update, it speeds up some of the processing, so hopefully it'll speed up our processing
Good.
as well.
What's the cost?
18,000 the first year.
That's the rental or the cost?
That's the the
Leasing.
cost, the overall 3-year cost would be, close to,
62,125.
Steve, are you asking about
No,
the
that's the
cost of
purchase.
the units, the
That's what
iPads
it's-
Yes,
themselves?
yeah.
that's what it's.
Steve's question is the iPad itself. What is the cost of an iPad? It's probably gonna be in the $600 range.
Probably with the OS on it, or the software
The
on it too.
purchase price for just the poll pad, which is an iPad, is $300.
Okay.
But if
Got
we
the-
choose to purchase, we also have to purchase new carry cases because the newer iPads are a little bit bigger, and we have 125 cases that don't hold them anymore.
Oh, that was.
So what are we gonna do with the 125 we got?
They're buying back everything
That's
we've
what-
got. It's like a trade-in
So
program.
that's the
They give us
first
a
year.
little, they give
That's
us
why
a
you
They
They're
penny.
give
buy
you,
back our
they
little
give you
cases, too.
$10 for
They're
every
buying
one you
everything
turn in.
back that we
Yeah.
can't use and providing updated
They
versions.
oversized them,
Yeah.
so we have to have a
You know,
case.
Apple likes to get you.
When you do the math, it's pretty close.
Yeah, if we were to buy
Yeah.
them, it'd be about $70,000.
Yeah.
Over 3 years, it's.
Yeah.
But the
62
leasing part would
over
be the
3
way to
years.
go to me. I mean,
And they
Yeah,
keep us
me
current.
too.
They keep us current, that's
So,
what I like.
have we about got all of our, voting precincts on Wi-Fi now? Or
Oh,
we
heavens
still-
no.
No, some, no, because of,
None of the
Jay,
data-
because of what we were discussing the other day about the tower,
Yeah.
some of them are not, yeah.
Jay, you are never gonna convince our Secretary of State to allow us
Yeah,
to
we're not-
transmit.
No, I wasn't talking about that. I was just talking about being able to utilize the poll pads to their best of their ability,
Okay,
you know?
all right. Got it.
Which we would still probably get in trouble with, cause that puts your entire
Security issue.
poll book out there connected to the internet. Even though it's a redacted version of their information, the Secretary of State's very,
Well, if we're not using the air aspect of it, I mean, I'm good with it, so anyway, let's go.
all right.
So I need to add,
there's a lot of functions.
I got it.
Yeah.
I figured there was some more to it.
I need to add, a lease agreement, approval of a lease agreement with No Ink for poll pads.
I'll
Make
make,
a motion to add that to the agenda.
all right, second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All
Make
opposed,
motion
like.
approve.
Second. Any further discussion? Not all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, like sign.
Tanya, I wish there was some way we could get you a raise, girl, because you are the backbone of our election commission.
Well, thank you.
We appreciate
I
what you
enjoy
do.
the job.
Thank you.
Do we have anything outstanding with No Ink that we know of?
I think everything has been taken care of.
Okay. Nothing further.
All right?
All right. More additional?
I got something else if we're still moving. Listen,
Are you-
listen.
I was just gonna say, I do have, personnel issues I need to discuss.
Hey, I got something here. I talked to the Brandon Fire Chief the other day, Brian Roberts, and they're doing a career recruit class there at Brandon Fire Department, which is fantastic. It's good they're doing it. They're training their own guys, all that kind of stuff. One of the things Roberts asked me was, would they be able to use, or could they use the Connex boxes across the street that the county purchased and put up a long time ago to do live fire training? Obviously, at the time, it wasn't the right plan to do because we weren't doing it properly with the live fire in that situation. So it's just been abandoned for all this time. So there's Connex boxes basically stacked up. Well, some of the things I would be okay with Brandon using would be those boxes to do search pattern only. No live fire on the inside. Just smoke it up and be able to run patterns and stuff like that inside it. but I don't know the condition of it necessarily. So what I would like would be to allow them to use it with an MOU from you written to the city of Brandon. But I'd like to have Brett, who's our county fire coordinator, go over with you, assess it, see if it's even safe to do that in. And then if we're gonna allow people to go there and do search patterns, no live fire against smoke, that we have one of our people with them. Brett would be a great one because he's our county fire guy. But search patterns only, no live fire in the building, with an MOU with the city of Brandon. If I need to put that on the agenda to make a motion, we just need to reach out to the Brandon Fire Chief. They're gonna start conducting that class, and they need a place to do search patterns, is my thing. And it's directly across the street from their station. I don't want any live fire in it, huh?
Yes.
Yes, yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I don't want any live fire, because I think it's unsafe to do that in that building. But I'd be totally good with smoke only, search patterns, and then have one of our county people there with them when they were there, to be sure the liability side. These boxes are stacked on each other.
I'm gonna transfer the line.
So we don't even make any action, he just needs to get the MOU together.
I'm totally good with that. I'm fine on using it. I just want to be sure, one, that Brett looks through it, says, hey, it's safe, it's good to go, and then when they're there, he's there. It'd be my only thing.
We'll
if you could do it
require
in-
the city to acknowledge that they. that
I don't know the
anybody
condition of the
can-
structure, is my point. So-
At one time, I thought somebody said the mayor wouldn't,
It's their
said it wasn't in that
employees.
great condition, but I mean, I
Maybe,
don't know.
and I guess that's my point. The fire chief reached out to me.
Yeah.
My only thing was, I'm fine
Yeah.
for no live fire, smoke only in that building, but it needs to be looked at
Yep.
by our people, and an MOU from you basically taking the liability off of us, because we've put live fire in that structure before. I don't believe that it's in great shape to do live fire for sure.
Over time, it degrades.
I would assume.
Yeah. No live fire, smoke only, search pattern only, county rep on site,
Be my thing.
and we'll do the indemnity.
And do an inspection of the building from our end to be sure it's good. Yeah.
Prior inspection.
So
All right, so, has there been any discussion that you know of the food chain? Anybody at the city? Because the MOU's gonna be.
I have not. But what I did tell the fire chief was to let the city people know, because I told them you were going to do an MOU with them to put them in it for the liability side of it.
Yep, absolutely.
See, I'm all done. Isn't that good?
You need more additional?
If I can, I've got two items to address with the board. The first one is, really need to just to nail down specifics about our planned trip up to DC for March the 7th through 9. Spoke to Steve. Steve, thank you for committing to go. We have something very important to discuss with our friends at the United States Department of Agriculture. And I honestly, no offense to the rest of you guys, but I can't think of anybody who would be a better spokesman for our county and our board than Mr. Gaines and his familiarity with matters that address agriculture concerns and interests. He's always been a stalwart champion for agricultural interests, especially in his district. And so his presence on the trip is, in my opinion, indispensable. And I'm glad he's going to go. Mr. Bishop has indicated to me that if someone else is willing to go in his place, that he's fine with that. But he didn't bother to tell me which one of you guys he wants going in his place. So we're gonna, I need some help knowing that. This will be pretty important trip, but I would say that the importance of this trip will be different than some of the other trips that we have taken. So this is be kind of a new field of opportunity for us. It will touch and concern some of the same issues that we've been addressing consistently, such as stormwater, such as transportation initiatives, yes. But one of the other focuses here is looking at additional federal resources that we may not have explored before. So this one will have a little bit of a new twist to it.
What day are you talking?
March the 7th through the 9th. March the 7th through the 9th. So I want to take two. I'm willing for just Steve to go, but that's going to put a lot of pressure on Steve to be in attendance at every meeting we go to, and so having two gives us much more flexibility. So y'all help me know who's my other
I say we just book Bishop's ticket and make him go either way.
I can't go for a project I don't believe in, you know, and I still don't think we should be leading the charge on that at all.
Stormwater?
No, the East Loop deal.
Oh, I thought you said stormwater. Oh, I think my target, or my goal, is to have a better, rapport with people, NRCS, Farm Service, the Corps, the people that have the monies, and it's way larger than just one road. The road that I think Jay's talking about is not in my district at all, but I do have concerns that are in my district also.
That road does go through your district, some of it on the east side.
Eventually.
Eventually. Eventually.
Is this on?
It starts seeing smoke signals.
Right.
Come on,
I mean, I don't mind going if y'all don't wanna go, I mean, I'll go.
All right. At least give me somebody to argue with.
If that's fine with Jared and Daniel, cause I went the last time, if either one of y'all wanna go.
Okay.
I'd go, but I think I'm gonna be busy.
Jared's got a plate full, I suspect. All right, I'm gonna, with y'all's permission, I'm going to confirm with the folks that have to schedule everything and handle all the logistics that Mr. Calhoun and Mr. Gaines will be on the trip to DC March 7th through 9. Okay? Others attending, Trey Jones from Bernini Law Firm will be going. Myself will accompany these guys. We'll have representatives of Wagner, who is responsible for our federal, the programming that we do at the federal level. Those guys help us to coordinate those meetings in DC and address those issues. So that will be a consistent pattern as we continue to move through this process. So unless anybody's got anything they want to add to that, that's the way we're going to do it.
Okay.
Okay.
I got some stuff I want to talk about on it, but I don't know if I need to do it in here. So maybe we just talk about it when we get outside of here. Me and Keith or you or whoever.
Okay.
Because we're pouring a whole lot of money into some areas on some stuff, and I have concerns we're not getting anything out of anything.
Okay.
And I'm gonna have Keith pull me up the numbers and kind of look at where we're at on a lot of our expenses on some of these projects, because we're blowing money into projects like it's going out of style, and I hadn't seen anything done. So I'm frustrated on my end on obviously some stuff that's going through. But we keep taking these acts, I guess would be the right word, and I hadn't seen anything done. And we're fixing to turn to a point to where we've blown through I don't know how much money, and we hadn't done anything. Now, you can say, well, we've done stuff. We've gone to the legislature. We've got these things approved, and we got additional money coming in. But we started with $30 million in our hands when it all started. And here we are 2 years after that came in, and we're still planning and paying and designs and research and all this stuff like that.
Yep.
And we're spending a tremendous amount of money. And I don't know the exact number, but I think maybe on the next board meeting, Keith can give us a detailed breakdown of how much money we're putting into these different groups.
Yes.
I don't want the county getting bled by studies and projects and research. It's kind of like you show up and you say if you wait to something, in the fire service they use a little thing that if you show up and you determine at what point is totally safe to go into a structure fire, then we'll go in. Well, it's never totally safe, right? It's never totally designed. It's never totally planned. We can plan ourselves to death and run all of our money out on people planning projects and researching and studies and plans. I'm tired of not seeing work done.
Yes.
That's my biggest issue and my biggest complaint.
Yeah.
And I'm extremely frustrated.
Waiting on a permit.
We had a Mill Creek project awarded 2 years ago. 2 years ago, and we can't even move. We hadn't done nothing.
Right.
We're stalled out on different projects. We're stalled out on all types of plans and studies and research and junk. And I'm absolutely wore out with our ability to study and research and do things and not get nothing done. So I'm not pointing any fingers at one particular group or person, but the entire system is bad. So I'm just gonna say my take on it. I'm gonna get continually worse as we go along.
No, I understand.
Not today, I'm done today, but the next board meeting I'm gonna get worse. And the next board meeting I'm gonna get worse than that.
Yes, sir.
Because at some point, the good part about this for the county is Daniel has 10 months as a county supervisor. That's the best part about it. And you don't have to worry about me anymore. But my point is, for those next 10 months, I'm going to put as much pressure on our groups to get a project started.
Yeah.
Not study it, not
Right.
plan it, not draw it up on a pretty picture board,
Oh, yeah,
and put it on
it's-
the screens.
it's too
but
late
to
now to
do
get
something
anything
to get
finished.
something done. That's not going to happen either.
I just wanna say,
You see what I'm saying?
we finished Vernon Jones.
Is it? You got anything at the core? You got anything at the core?
Nope.
No, sir. That was the secret, Daniel.
I'm just telling you.
I agree,
Yeah.
it's the way it's been.
Do a
I don't know why
project
it's
that
way
is,
it's study,
that is so
study. I
narrowly
can
tailored.
relate
Yeah,
to
but my
anything
point
you
is,
said.
you're doing
Implication
those,
for.
not you. They're doing all these studies to us
Yes,
with a tremendous amount of money we're paying for it.
yes.
Right.
And then
I
we're gonna
agree.
turn around and blink, and then we're gonna burn through two or three, maybe $4 million, and all we're gonna have these little pretty papers. I mean, we paid $250,000 for a drainage study.
I thought you were.
4 years. I'm sorry, buddy. I'll take it next meeting. You're right. I'm sorry.
Yeah, save some for.
I got it.
later
I
meetings.
agree.
I guess,
Hey, I
but my
agree with every word you
but my
said.
point on this whole deal is frivolous use of money. Show me something that we pay for that's working. You see what I'm saying? That's my biggest red flag in the whole deal. And I'm tired of going to all these things
Yes,
and
sir.
nobody get nothing done.
And
Mr. Supervisor, can I
and I warned you, it's gonna be like
yeah,
that too.
can I
don't-
Study,
carefully,
study,
just
study.
carefully
It's
challenge you a
it's
little
not
bit
gonna-
on
it's
the
not
use
gonna
of the
feel
word
better.
frivolous?
Hey, Slate, it's almost like
I
in
don't
the-
want it to be
Slate, it's
characterized
it's
as
almost like
frivolous.
it's almost in like the church thing where you got to put lay hands on me.
Yeah,
You know, just put
sir.
your hands
Yes,
on
sir.
me and just kind of cool
Yes,
me
sir.
down. Bishop
sir.
did that.
Yes, sir.
So Bishop's got me calm. I'll talk about it again. When's our next board meeting?
Yes, sir.
Oh, no, I can't go that quick. My heart's still up.
15th, the 15th.
But let me go on the 15th. Can I do that? The 6th is too quick.
Absolutely.
Huh?
We'll have some other things.
I'm
Yeah.
sorry.
Thank y'all for the information on the DC trip, and we will continue to press, as will Mr. Cross, for activity that is actual work product
Will you tell him that
on the
for me, okay?
ground.
I will.
turn my hair away.
Hopefully, it's clear that as we move through some of the challenging aspects of these, especially our stormwater management program, as we move through some of those challenging aspects, my hope is that, well, I'll just leave it at this. We're doing everything that we can to move the monolith over in Vicksburg, but that is a heavy, slow outfit. So we're doing everything we can. If I may, I would like to, and this is an excellent segue, and I run the risk here of drawing additional fire from certain quarters, but we have the possibility of applying for some additional grant funding. Mr. Cross, you were responsible for this discussion.
Hey, I'm hitting this mic button. I'm turning it off.
Okay, thank you.
Turn my mic off.
So I just want the record to reflect that we're talking about this because Mr. Cross brought it to my attention, and it was brought to his attention by one of the representatives of the Soil and Water Conservation Service, that there is a grant program that has been stood up by the legislature through the Department of Wildlife, Fisheries, and Parks. And it's called the Mississippi Outdoor Stewardship Trust Fund. The language of that grant program appears to fit within the confines of the Rankin County Stormwater Management Program. It looks like we would be eligible for some grant funding. We don't know how much, but the department has been allocated $10 million, at least for this year, and is now receiving applications for grant funding. We have several ideas. The primary idea being that we can take some of the grant funding, if we receive a grant award, and utilize that to offset some of the expenses that we are going to incur on two specific ARPA stormwater projects, Mill Creek and Oak Grove. And so this grant funding would help to offset that. There is no match requirement to receive the grant funding.
What does it cost to qualify or to fill out the grant?
To complete the application, we would be looking at a significant amount of documentation that has to be prepared.
Who would do that?
Well, y'all gotta tell me who to do it. I would need, and I would suggest that it would.
Well, we have a grant writer.
But,
Is he no longer here?
it will implicate.
Can we get it done tomorrow?
Wow, that's short notice.
Two of the engineers that are already associated with those projects, Oak Grove is Benchmark, Mill Creek is Engineering Service, will have to be involved because they have some data that will be required. And so it would have to be a team effort to put together the application. The application is online. The application can be completed. All I can tell you guys is there will be a cost associated with completing the application. I have no
Why don't
real.
we find out before Monday what they'll charge us to do it, and then we can make that decision Monday.
Timmy, can you look into your part of that?
All right.
So what I would,
Can Greg look at it?
Yeah.
Greg
Yeah.
and Timmy?
okay, y'all just wanna do it on Monday? I leave tomorrow.
Okay.
I won't be back until the 13th.
Okay.
So, somebody's gonna have to coordinate all this.
He can handle that.
Yeah, okay. All right, good deal. Last thing for me, under additional business is really, it's really Mike and Tim, but I wanted to give you guys a quick
Go
update.
ahead, Greg, you're doing a good job.
Yeah, they're gonna let me take
Come
off.
on up here,
They're gonna
man.
let me have the hot seat here.
Yeah.
So this is on our asphalt program for '23, and we've had continuing and multiple discussions. As you guys are aware, we've got a couple of vendors that have been involved in some discussions. Let me walk you through kind of where we are, how we got to where we are today. One of the first things that we did was we went to our commodity vendor on our asphalt, AJ Construction. We engaged those guys and told them, here's the program that we've got upcoming, and the amount of work is there, and it's a fairly substantial amount of work. And so we asked them on the front end, before we start issuing POs, we gotta know. We can't be halfway into this process and find out we're choking you. We gotta know what the deal is. Can y'all handle this work? And so those conversations took place. There was some back and forth with the second low to try to see if we could work out an arrangement where if we know enough on the front end about our program to say that our primary vendor is not gonna be able to get the work done, if we know that on the front end, let's don't put ourselves in a position of waiting to find out about that. Let's go ahead and deal with that now and assign the work accordingly. We had some difficulties trying to get everybody on the same page. Turns out, our primary guy has now come back and told Mike he has enough equipment, he has enough crews, he is willing to do the full amount of the program to get us through the end of June. So, anything to add to that, Mike? It's really just informational for you guys. And so where we stand at the moment is this: when we are prepared, when we're ready, we're gonna start issuing POs to our primary, go get it done. And we will do these in sequence so that as he completes, we may do two jobs at one time. As he completes those, the next PO is hitting and he's moving to the next site, and roll. This is what we're gonna do. Now, where does that leave us? If we find out at some point, he has a crew
There's no way in
lead.
the world he can do all that. No way. He's just saying it, but he ain't gonna get it done.
So what that doesn't leave us without an option, Jay. It does present the issue of making sure that if it's a particular PO and he's telling us I'm not gonna be able to do that, and he tells me that on the front end, I can have that particular PO declined and issue another PO to second. But we're gonna be paying the second low his price. Everybody clear?
When you say his
$2.
What he bid as the second
All
low.
the time.
I agree with that. I don't wanna get into monkey business of
Understood.
whatever they bid, it's what we expect them to do, and they expect us to pay.
Completely understood. However, the opportunity that was presented was that he could voluntarily
Well,
step in. But everybody understood it had to be a combination agreement. I had the first guy saying,
understand
I
that.
don't want that PO, give it to him, and him saying, I'm willing to do it at the primary price.
I'm good with that.
And we could not get those two things to happen in
Right.
coordination.
I
So
understand.
we're gonna go with the standard way, the standard operating procedure. We're gonna issue POs to the first guy until he can't produce.
But that was defeating the whole purpose of us trying to get a lot of asphalt done this summer. And so here we are, right back where we started.
Well, and here's what I think got us in this situation. What we should have done was package that together and bid it out like October, November last year. The problem is now, if you don't get some work going, we won't be able to have a bid back till May. Then if something doesn't come in or blows out of budget, you're not even doing asphalt this summer. I don't know if we can get it all done.
We sure not gonna get done what we intended to, so.
I don't believe there's any way, he's saying he can do everything that we got out there.
What he's saying.
Well, I would too if I was.
But he's already
Yes.
said, I heard him say he's got some state aid projects he's gotta do too.
Yeah, I think the most recent conversations, Jared, are his understanding that he's gotta prioritize Rankin County. And he has some flexibility on those state projects.
He's saying he's got 2 crews.
That's what he's told us.
I don't know that he can, but he's gonna shift one of those crews over here doing state aid. You know that's what's gonna happen. And he's gonna dump us on one. And then you're gonna have some weather coming here. And hey, I tried, but you didn't put 2 crews over here.
Because we've got no other option to get another crew other than wrap it together and put a bid out, right?
Yep.
Or go to the second person on
Can't
the.
go
Yeah,
the second unless he
once
can't do it.
he
That's not an
is
option.
incapable of producing on a given PO, we can go to the second. But
That's
there's
why I
a,
want us to bid it to start with, to avoid right here where we're at.
Should have been bid then, that's right. I guess my thing is, if we don't get some of that going, let's just say we said today, wrap those in a bid, put them out there. By the time you put it out for bid, you're gonna be April, because Tim's gotta go design them,
Yep.
put them all in a deal.
Yep.
The roads, whatever roads we
Yes,
choose to
sir.
design,
Yes,
put
sir.
that package out, then you open them, award them, you're into May before you even start moving any
yeah,
asphalt.
you've
And
got
you
that
lose
period of
2
time to get
months.
the contracts in
And I
place, the
want mine
bonds.
done.
Yes, sir.
If we had our,
Everybody wants it all done.
if we had our own asphalt plant, we wouldn't be going through all this.
And finally, the likelihood is that in a bid package, you're gonna get a higher price than what you got in your commodity. We know
Right,
that.
yeah.
So,
I mean, my
Yeah, but
thing
we
is,
get it done.
but I guess my thing
Well,
is,
you won't be able to get as much done.
but I mean, let's launch it, let's launch the bid project and just turn them loose to start paving whatever they can. I'm for wrapping the bid and bidding them.
Yeah, but you're looking how long it's gonna take. to
No, I'm
do
just
it.
saying, start this process now.
Yeah.
And
Well,
then-
you're gonna wind up paying a lot more, and then you're not gonna be able to do as much, too.
I'm just saying,
I know what you're saying, I'm
something's
just
gotta
saying.
happen now, you know?
Yeah,
Well,
I agree.
I think the next 7 days after today is gonna be sunshine, so maybe we get some POs issued and get it cranking. Some warm weather, it's supposed to warm up all next week.
It's gotta go. I just don't wanna miss the whole spring, which I'm scared we're fixing to.
I know. Well,
Okay.
if
All right.
is it a point, if he's not moving, getting enough progress done,
yes, sir.
that we can say,
Yes, sir.
you're saying it, but you're not showing it?
Yes, some of this can be controlled through the language that is actually on the purchase order. And typically, what we do is we issue the PO, and sometimes there's no time frame included. Most times, there is some time frame included where there has to be work product initiated. Jared, where it gets a little tedious is, and what we have seen in the past, I'm not gonna say that this vendor would behave this way, but in the past, we've seen situations where on the last day for production, they run out and do something,
I know.
say, I'm producing. And that's unacceptable in this situation. So we would have to be really, really clear on our instructions on the PO.
Well, and another problem we're gonna run into, let's say it doesn't work out, then you're gonna have, second one. He ain't gonna just sit here and wait all summer thinking, hey, I'm gonna get some of this, he's gonna be out working. And then he can, well, hey, I'm busy,
Yeah, can't
all
do
my
it.
crew's tied up.
When we gonna start sending POs out?
Right.
Now? Okay.
I mean, once
I
we
mean-
get through, once we get I hadn't sent nothing out because I wanted to.
So, I mean,
Everybody-
when he talking about that, next week or 2 weeks?
I mean, he could
No,
probably
we're
crank up
actually-
next
we're
week
actually
if it's
looking at-
sunshine.
We're actually looking at paving Monday. If the weather's permitting, temperature's warming up, sun's shining.
Right.
I mean,
Well, I'd
looks
start
like we got
getting the
3 days of
POs,
paving next week right now.
and let's just monitor it. and go
Yeah,
from
I
there.
don't think I'm just gonna be careful, cause what's gonna, if you're not careful, the other one is gonna be busy. He can't just jump in and
I
fill
know,
in these.
I know. But I think we go
I mean,
ahead
you know
and
it's
issue the
gonna be busy.
POs today and to them, and let's get them
Right.
moving.
That we have to be careful, in the manner in which we issue these POs. The first guy, he has a legal right to the work.
Right.
Right, that's what he bid for. He was the low bidder. So he has a legal right to that work. We have to be careful, not to manufacture a way to put him into default so we can run over and get the second load.
No,
We don't
I'm
wanna
not
do
doing
that,
all.
we're
I
not
just
gonna do
wanna see
that.
Production.
Yeah. So it's gonna be a cooperative process. We're gonna continue to try to move through this as fast as we can. We understand the priority.
All right.
I like to, you know, on my end, Brad, and I mean, that's what we've kind of looked
Or
at
if
today.
you go ahead and watch him go down in flames.
Oh.
Mike thinks he can do it, so we're gonna let
Well, I mean, that's-
him put his name on the line. You saying he's gonna do it, you in there with him.
Well, that's fine. I mean, I'm just going by what the contractor says. I mean, he's gotta turn it loose, and he ain't turning it
You're a
loose.
road manager.
What-
You gotta
I mean-
understand what work can be done, what work can't be done. And you're saying you believe you can get it done.
I can only go by what he says.
Do
Yeah,
you
but
think you
you,
can
you
do it?
think, you think.
It is very capable to do it, Jay, because you're not talking about but about a 20-day work week in a month, and you ain't talking about an average of 700 tons a day. That's not that much asphalt, guys. I mean, these crews, production crews will be laying 1,000 tons a day. Yeah, yes, it is achievable, but he can't stomp his toe. I will say that. But I can't make him turn loose of the contract either, Jay.
No, all he's saying,
Yeah,
all he's saying is, do you think, no different plowing your fields or baling your hay, you can say, I can get all that. But can you really get it? You know, can your
No,
boys
he
do
was
every bit of that?
asking
You
me,
need
he
to
was
know
telling
that.
me that
So I'm
I'm on
asking-
the line for a contractor saying he could do something.
No,
You are, because you're sitting there supporting that he is gonna be able to do it.
You ain't
What's
heard
the
me
difference
support
was from
nothing
last
of
year?
it.
We had contractors was leaving last year because the price of everything was going up.
Then.
That's a big
I mean, my
difference. That's
recommendation-
trying to get $9 million worth of asphalt done this year.
I mean, that's why I was getting to the podium. My recommendation is either go with this proposal right here, or we keep going forward with the bid process.
Well, if you go bid process, you ain't gonna be doing anything.
No, we're gonna be doing something. We've committed X amount of work there that we're gonna start paving. I mean, we've got the list. I mean, y'all
Well,
got
you do
that.
the bid process, you won't do as much because it's gonna cost more, so you're not gonna be able to do as much, put as much asphalt down.
I
Those many
understand,
miles.
All right.
I mean, there's two options out there. That's what I'm asking you, what direction the board seeks to go.
I don't wanna back up and have to do more of Tim's, design, whatever it is he charges us for, and get further behind. Can you have a conversation with the number one and tell him how serious we are?
Yes,
And if he can identify this much, he is positive he can finish, would he work with us and let us go to the second one for the other 20%?
understand.
Something like that.
Yeah, because if it looks like he's gonna be right up to the line and ain't gonna get it and all, we can't wait there and go, well, sorry, try.
But I mean, yeah,
That would
I
be-
mean, the phone call, but I'll make the phone call
That's
again
my only- I
to
mean,
ensure the
only-
seriousness of it, but
Yeah,
I mean,
yeah.
he committed me, last night, $6 million worth of work between now and the end of June.
Well, we need him, well, he needs to be ready to hit the ground going then. Get
Well, we
everything
got more
greased
than
up, ready to
6
roll.
million. We got more than 6 million.
I understand, we
That's
just.
through
through the end of
that's
June.
when the contract
We'll have
comes out.
another commodity bid in place.
Which was the whole reason we were gonna bid all this out to start with, so we get $9 million worth of work done this summer.
And we can still do that. We're,
Well, no, we can't, we ain't got it ready. We don't have any bids ready to go out, we're not ready to advertise. Yeah, we can do it eventually.
I mean, you gotta launch him right now. I mean, and then put together whatever, I guess that's the thing, whatever he can't do, that's what we've gotta know. He's just gotta come out front and tell us, I can do this and I can't, and everything else goes in the bid and we go.
Yeah, so why are you holding back the other 3 million? I thought we were doing 9 million.
I did too.
We are. We said if we went to commodity thing, that this was achievable to go to the end of June, $6 million. And then we would have enough to carry
I know
over
we
to
got
go
enough
into.
commodity bids, so why don't we try to get it done as much as we can right now?
Okay.
I
And
agree.
not limit it to 6 million. Let's put out as much as we possibly
I
can.
I agree
thought
with
that's
you.
where we were going.
Yeah. So put the whole 9 out and go, and then find out where we're standing.
That's where we are.
That's all,
I
that's
thought.
all you, that's all you can do
why
now.
don't
I mean, that's
why
what
don't
we,
hold
that's what
back
we
3
initially
million?
said.
I agree with you. Hit it. Put the whole 9 out and let's go.
The benefit of doing it that way is that, as we move forward, it may become really clear sooner that number one man ain't gonna never get to 9 million. And that conversation may lead to how we are able then to go to the
He's like
second
getting
level
another crew.
and move forward.
Yeah.
Okay?
He'd have to get 3 crews.
Yeah, so this actually could work, what y'all are now describing that you would like to do, issue it all to the primary, may put us in a position where we find out about the ability of the primary to get it done sooner.
Well, I mean, and that's the
Or-
thing. He's gonna clock in, I can do this 6 million right here, that's all I can do. Then go straight to the next one and say, here's the remaining balance.
That's
Knock it out.
That's the point.
That's right.
Or, okay, or if we have to go the bid way, we got that 3 million basically laid there for the bid
Two
way.
bids, yeah. You know you're gonna get 6 done.
Well,
So-
that's what it says.
The way we had it laid out on the front end, Jared, we had 3 million we was gonna give to commodity. And then me and Tim's been working, or Tim has, been working on the bid package for the rest of the work. When the contractor come in and said he could do more, that's all we're asking y'all. Do y'all wanna stay on the plan that we addressed, that we was gonna do 3 million and bid out to 6 million? Or do y'all wanna go the commodity bid route? I mean, that's the question to answer Jay's question, that's where we at on the board, you know. I mean, we hadn't stopped moving forward on the bid process.
What I'm hearing now, though, is the preference would be if the 9 million were done by the end of June, it'd be great. So if it's the board's pleasure, let Mike and I, we got a meeting Monday. Let Mike and I talk to the low bidder, and discuss this $9 million option. I think, based on him committing to 6, I think 9 is gonna, I truly think that's gonna be a significant
Yeah,
challenge.
yeah.
So then we can potentially see if he's willing to release the 3
Another 3.
and start with the 6.
Yeah.
And then, so now we've got 2 contractors paving, and we're monitoring what they're doing.
Right.
And if he can't get to the 6 by the end of June, because that's our deadline, he may have to release a little bit of that
A little
to give to the
more.
other contractors. So, but
Yeah,
we'll be rolling it, we'll be able to monitor the progress as we go.
Alright. Can we
But at
just-
least
y'all
try to
do-
get
y'all do
them, try to
that.
get them on board for 6 and 3 to start out
Y'all
with,
talk
out of the
to
gate.
them, get a good conversation,
That sound fair?
and we're just
Well, they
going
can
over
try
and over the same thing. Y'all talk to them, come back, and
We'll be able to tell you something Monday.
month, how about that? Alright,
Because, I mean, we're dealing with the same thing. I mean, while we're kicking this can, I mean, we're dealing with the same thing on the micro side. I mean, I've talked to several other micros. I mean, I wanted to put it out for bid.
Let's do it.
We'll put it out for bid, but, you know, we're gonna be limited on what we get back, so.
Well, I
But
think
I
you
mean-
need to go ahead with all of what you just said. I mean, micro, don't hold up on one. You got your asphalt moving, gonna do the micro. I mean, let them roll. Let's let them roll.
Jared, there's a temperature.
The micro is a little bit.
We can't start it till May.
I understand that.
We're a little-
But I'm just saying, let's go ahead, let's don't be waiting till the
Yeah.
temperature is right, let's
Right,
go ahead and get it
absolutely.
ready. Cause we're gonna be doing chip seal, coming back over with micro, and on a lot of roads, so let's go ahead and get that all set up.
We got business on.
All right, well, y'all got what you need, and let's
Thank you.
come back Monday with us. All right,
We've got personnel and potential litigation, economic development, potential property acquisition, and executive session.
all right, do I have a motion?
I make a motion, need to go into executive
All
session.
right, second that motion. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, like sign. Now I'll make a motion to go into executive session.
but
Daniel,
Yep.
didn't you second it?
Yes, sir.
All right, second by Mr. Cross. All in favor?